Hi, I'm Harry Rock, and welcome to another edition of the Westfield Council on Aging Presents. This is a collaborative effort with Mike Squindo, Executive Director of the Westfield Senior Center, Tina Gorman, COA Special Projects Coordinator, and Pete Coles, producer of WCPC Westfield Cable Channel 15. Our topic today is, for older adults, low vision often means adjusting to changes in how we do everyday tasks. But support and practical strategies can make a meaningful difference. My guests are Jennifer Harnish, the Executive Director, and Eleanor Strahl, Occupational Therapist and Vision Rehab Director from the Massachusetts Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. We will be discussing the challenges of failing eyesight and how to adjust to dealing with everyday activities. So Jennifer and Eleanor, welcome to the show. We're thrilled to have you. I was quite surprised to hear that you both came in this morning from opposite ends of our beloved state of Massachusetts, but glad that you found us here. So I want to just get into what is the Massachusetts Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired?
So we are a nonprofit that serves blind and low vision individuals across the entire state. We began in 1903 to provide such services, and we are now a division of MAB Community Services, which works together to provide individuals with a range of disabilities a whole array of services to lead independent lives.
So are you doing more than dealing with sight-impaired people? or
Within our MABV, Mass Association for the Blind, we focus on individuals who are low vision, losing vision, or blind. That's our specialty.
Okay. And is there a so you're a private 501c3 organization? You're not
Yes.
a state agency?
No.
Okay. And do you have a facility that people come to, or is it all outsourced with people going to people's homes?
It depends on our service. Eleanor can talk more about our occupational therapy, but they go into the home. Our technology trainers work out of senior centers, libraries, public settings, and also over the phone. Our peer support groups for older adults meet typically at senior centers, and then our adjustment and counseling department is all done by phone or over, say, Zoom.
Okay, wow. And obviously it's a fee-based organization. Is this a insurance? Does insurance cover this, or is it all private pay?
It depends on the program. Our OT department is through insurance, and our counseling is all no cost to the individual. And our volunteer department and our technology training are funded through the generosity of foundations across the state, as well as individual philanthropy. And then our peer support groups are funded in part through a contract through the Massachusetts Commission for the Blind to provide support services. So we have across the board types of funding.
Are you the only agency providing these kind of services in Massachusetts?
One who covers the entire state, yes. There's other agencies that specialize in similar services or may provide, say, on-site training at a specific center location.
Wow. And how long have you been the executive director?
Just for almost a year now.
Oh,
but
really?
I've been at MABV for almost 2 years.
Okay. Wow. And you're enjoying that role?
Oh, it's a fabulous place to work. And being blind myself, it's just amazing to be able to be part of an organization, to really give back and to serve individuals who were at a place in adjusting to vision loss that I was at many, many years ago.
Wow, good for you. Nothing like being able to give back and help others, and especially in a realm that you yourself live with.
Mm-hmm.
Jennifer, can you? How long have you been with the organization?
Oh, my. Oh,
Eleanor?
Eleanor?
I'm sorry, Eleanor. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
no problem. No, it's been about 5 years for me.
Okay. Wow. And can you describe the role and the level of responsibilities that you have?
Yeah, so I'm one of our occupational therapists, and I also supervise our other occupational therapists who are working across the state. And we kind of each work within our own region. So I'm serving people in Western Massachusetts, and we are the ones that are going into people's homes and helping them make the adjustments to their daily routines that they need to do in order to be able to stay in the setting of their choosing and to be as independent as they can.
That's interesting. So, from the standpoint of services, basically, are most services really provided in the home setting? So, you're coming to the home for clients?
For occupational therapy, where it's all taking place in the home.
Okay.
On rare occasions, we'll meet somebody someplace else that's relevant to their life, like their workplace, or if they're in a day program. But then Jen can speak to the other programs they're taking. Yeah.
None of the other programs are in the home. We focus on community locations as well as being able to serve through the phone or through, say, Zoom types of services. So many of our individuals are no longer able to drive or no longer comfortable driving, may not have access to transportation for those with disabilities. So we want to be able to provide services that don't require them to come to us. So places like a senior center, where many individuals are often comfortable going if they've been before, are a way for us to provide our services without the difficulties, the stress that comes with transportation.
Yeah, I can imagine that's a significant issue. I'm curious, how many clients do you have across the state? Any idea?
Well, we serve over 1,200 individuals a year, primarily through our volunteer program. So for anyone in the audience looking to volunteer, you can sign up to be a volunteer with one of our program participants to help out with daily tasks. Reading the mail, going grocery shopping with them, those kinds of things that really makes for a nice social opportunity for both people who are involved.
So they apply to you if they want to be a volunteer. They apply to the agency.
Well, it's through Idealist, where they can sign up there and they'll see our postings. And then they get training through us as well as we interview them and check references, all of those things. And then our team matches the volunteer up with someone who lives nearby and who would be a good match for what the volunteer is able to help with.
Wow. And do you have any shortage of people coming to volunteer?
We do, actually. We have about 100 people on our wait list. That's across the state.
Wow.
So we would encourage anyone who's really looking for some real person interactions. We hear that a lot from our volunteers. They're looking for a connection, as are our participants in the program.
Wow, really interesting. So the people that you're serving, are these individuals, and I will tell you, I know nothing about this topic because...
I didn't either until
Right.
I needed to know.
Right, so I'm learning from you as we're going here, but are most of the people that you're dealing with, are these individuals who were blind from birth? Have they experienced vision loss either naturally or by accident, through accidents in life? What is the mix of people that you see and serve?
So the most common would be an older adult who is experiencing newer vision loss. So macular degeneration, for example, glaucoma are probably the two most common. So they may have had typical vision most of their lives, but then there are conditions that cause gradual vision loss. We do have some individuals who've been blind most of their lives, whether from birth or as, child, teenager, young adult. Often those individuals have had services from a younger age, so may not need as much. However, when they experience life transitions, whether it's to work, to school, to new living environments, that's when we can step in if they'd like to support them with those transitions. So it really varies.
That's interesting. When I was on your website kind of prepping for this interview, I came across a quote that I'll share with you, and you'll know it because it's on your website, but it resonated with me. If you could see what I can see or what I don't see, you'd understand how hard this is. And I just thought it was a great quote.
Yes, it is, because when you're losing vision, it's not to other people an obvious experience. So I'll have people say to me, well, it seems like you can see, you're making eye contact, or you're able to move around comfortably, or I even look at my phone, even though I can't see what's on the screen. So one of the things we work with our program participants on is how do you explain to friends, to family, to professionals in your life what you can see, what you can use your vision for, and how they can best work together with you to support you, in your journey.
It can be frustrating for both parties in a relationship where the person with the visual impairment is struggling to adjust, and the person that they live with, they seem the same, and they don't understand what the struggle is. And then for the person with the visual impairment, I found that they're often reluctant to even share with friends and family that they are losing their vision. Something that I work with a lot of my clients on is just being able to verbalize this and say, I have a visual impairment, here's how you can help me. And then we also need to do training with the people who are in the household and say, no, it's not a nicety. You really do need to put things back in the same place every time, or this person in your household is simply not going to be able to find them. And then there's a big safety issue too. It's not optional to pick things up when they've fallen on the floor, to close a cabinet door, to push a chair back under the table. These are things that you take for granted, that you can see and avoid them, or that you can find the remote on the coffee table.
Right.
So we provide education to both parties there to try to bridge that gap and to make the person more comfortable verbalizing what they need.
Actually, how hard is it for, in a family setting where you've got one person losing their vision, for the others to really understand what they're going through?
It's always difficult when you're not living in somebody else's shoes to really know. You're seeing changes in your partner, and you're seeing maybe some struggles with doing what they've always done and always enjoyed. And you're feeling at a bit of a loss, how to manage this, how much to help, how much not to help. And you're experiencing the normal experiences with adjustment, the anger, the grief, and the sense of loss. And you're just initially so unsure, as is the partner. So it is a journey for anyone who's together in this kind of experience.
Yeah, I can imagine. Can you talk about what's the difference between having low vision and being impaired to being completely blind?
So low vision is a term that's widely used, but it's not, the definitions of it vary. So we can consider low vision to be basically any vision problem that cannot be corrected with glasses or with medical treatment. So anything less than that 20/20 vision, you can start considering low vision. Now, blindness, legal blindness, there's a legal definition for it. And your eye doctor is the one who's kind of responsible for recognizing when you reach that threshold. And it's either a loss of visual acuity, the numbers that you see on the chart on the wall, or it's a loss of your visual field where you're not being able to see things on the periphery. So when you hit that legal blindness threshold, then you've reached this legal status, you lose your driver's license, and then you become eligible for your state services. But what a lot of people think when they hear the word blind is they think, oh, this person can't see anything. But in fact, most people who are legally blind still have some of what we call functional vision, some vision that they can still use to do things and interact with the world.
Very interesting. As individuals age, and we're talking, relating this topic to our senior population, is it common for people to have failing eyesight, and at what age can vision start to be affected, or is that all over the board?
Well, so just like how becoming a senior and having the challenges with becoming a senior come to us all, vision problems come to us all. Everybody experiences changes in their vision as part of the normal process of aging. So anybody, once you get past 40, you start noticing that you're going to need reading glasses. That's a condition
That's
called...
when I started.
That's right. I know, it's a condition called presbyopia, and there's no escaping it. And that's a vision problem. It's correctable with lenses, so there's that, but you do have to make adjustments. And then another thing that's less well known is that you also start to lose what's called your contrast sensitivity. And that the norms for contrast sensitivity change once you get past 60. So things are going to kind of gradually, and it's hard to notice it while it's happening, but things start to become sort of muddier. The blacks are less black, the whites are less white, and at that point you need a lot more light to do the same things that you've always been doing. So a big focus of what I do is making sure that people know how much light they really need to do things, and then they realize it makes such a big difference in making things easier. And that's things like doing your crossword puzzle. But it's also a big safety hazard. Everybody, after they reach a certain age, is going to start to lose this contrast vision, and then it's going to be harder for them to notice things like the edges of stairs when they're going up and down the stairs.
Interesting.
Or if there's water spilled on the floor, it's going to be harder for them to see those things.
And that's a natural...
Yeah, it's typical aging.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
I have lots of great things to look forward to.
I know, so much to look forward to. But then you
Come
learn,
to us.
That's
Yeah, I
right.
know.
Then you just have to start accommodating for it.
It was hard. I never wore glasses until I got into my 40s, and I started needing reading, and that got so I would go to CVS or something, buy these little cheaters, and then I had to keep increasing the magnification on those. And then I discovered I couldn't see anything distant, so I had to get glasses for that. So I refused at that point to, say, I'm not ready to wear glasses. So I would have both of them on top of each other when I'd sit at home to watch a TV or working on my laptop. And finally I said, okay, Harry, enough is enough. Let's just go and bite the bullet. So now I have progressive lenses so I can see everything, any distance. But
so much of what I do is really encouraging people to make these changes in their lives to make things easier and safer for themselves. But it's also universal. We're all resistant to change, and we're all resistant to things that sort of are going to symbolize our vulnerability or our frailty. But I think it's really empowering to make these changes so that you can continue to do the things that you want to do. So it's just like a mental threshold that I try to help people.
You mentioned earlier the lack of contrast. I certainly get it with water because sometimes that's hard to pick up. But the edges of stairs, And we talk on this program about the issues of slips and falls and the dangers of that for older people and breaking hips and other bones and just getting banged up in general. So when people are coming to a staircase, they just don't see the edge of the stair, or they can't determine how high it is?
If all the stairs are the same color, then yeah, it's going to be harder to see the edges. They're all going to blend in together.
Okay.
So you could miss a step, you could be coming up, if you're on a pathway that suddenly has stairs, you might not notice that there are stairs.
Right.
In people's homes, I encourage them to do things to mark the edges of the stair treads.
I was just going to ask,
Oh,
so what are the
yes.
tricks on that?
Oh, man. All right. So there's different, well, I did bring my bag of tricks. I thought we'd get into that later on.
Yeah, we will.
But yeah, so for indoor stairs, you can get sticky treads that also are gritty, and you can put those on the edge, so then it's a contrast and a texture to reduce slipperiness, and you can feel it with your feet. Everybody's stairs, this is where my OT really comes in. Everybody should have railings, at least on one side, the full length of the stairs, and all the stairs. Even in a part of your house where you're just going up, down, maybe 1, 2, you can have a little handle on the wall. And all the stairs, ideally, you want there to be a contrast color at the edge of the treads, so it's really easy to see. Same thing outside. And I like to tell, I had this client who had these stairs to go up to her porch, and I just went out and I put bright yellow duct tape on the edges of her concrete stairs. And she said, oh my gosh, everybody who comes to my house loves it. Because she told me that she'd had guests come over and they almost fell on her stairs.
Oh, that's a good point. So
Yeah,
it's not just
that's
who's
a-
living in the house, it can definitely be guests.
That's another little trick that I use to get people to adopt changes, is I tell them it's not for them. It's maybe for somebody else in the household or for their guests.
Great point. Great point. I want to talk, when I was on your website, I found one of your pages talking about eye-related diseases that people have to deal with. And some of these are names that I can't even pronounce. But I thought, and you've already mentioned a couple of them, like cataracts, but there's detached retina, diabetic
Retinopathy.
retinopathy, glaucoma, macular degeneration, retinas.
RP. Now I'm not going to be able to see it.
Right,
Say it.
RP, right. Pigmentosa.
There you go.
Oh my gosh, I can't say it now that I'm not looking at it.
That's okay. But there's a lot of different,
Yeah.
I was interested to see that there's a lot. Can we just talk about that
Yeah.
for a moment as to what are they, what causes them? Are they permanent? Are there ways to slow it down or totally turn it around?
Totally avoid them? Absolutely. So most of these conditions that you're naming are hereditary, but
Aha.
but some of them they're appearing at different stages in life. So you have a condition like, oh man, I'm really not going to be able to say it now. RP is a condition that starts to appear when people are in their teenage years, but it's very gradual. So people kind of have a long time to adjust to it. Macular degeneration is appearing more in our seniors, but again, it's a gradual progression. I think it's helpful to kind of look at the parts of your vision that they're affecting. So a condition like macular degeneration, what you're losing is your central vision. The example that we give to help people understand what that's like is you can take your fist and you put it on the bridge of your nose. That's a loss of central vision. So if I'm looking at you, I cannot see your face.
Oh,
If I
okay.
go to read something, I cannot see the words that I'm trying to focus on.
Okay.
So that can be very disabling to people.
But there's still peripheral vision.
You still have your peripheral vision, which is helpful for watching out for fall hazards and walking around. You can still see things coming at you from the edge or something that's on the floor. But with a condition like glaucoma, where you start to lose your peripheral vision, then that creates a lot of safety hazards. So you can still read, but it's harder for you to see if a car is coming when you're crossing the street, or again, to see those steps that you're coming up to. A condition like diabetic retinopathy, it kind of creates holes and distortions across your whole visual field. And cataracts is an interesting one. Cataracts is another normal process of aging. As we get older, then our corneas start to become less clear. And a lot of people don't get them treated, but they're very treatable. So that brings me into the next topic, which you were asking about. It's how can we prevent some of these conditions from developing? Many of them cannot be prevented. Macular degeneration, it's a process that's going to occur. But it's very important to have regular visits with your eye doctor, because all of these conditions, you'll benefit from early diagnosis, which will give you more options for treatment. And a lot of these treatments, if they can't cure the disorder, they can help slow its progression. So for anybody who's 40, you should have at least one complete eye exam. For people who are 60 over, you should be going every 1 to 2 years. It's very important, and it's often neglected because a condition like glaucoma is painless. You cannot detect it as it's coming on. It can only be detected by going to see your eye doctor and getting your eye pressure checked. By the time you're actually going to observe a change in your vision, there's already permanent damage being done. And then other aspects of other important aspects of eye care. Anytime you go outside, you want to be wearing sunglasses. Sunglasses will slow the development of cataracts. And then they also help protect your eyes from, objects that might fly into them and damage them, even like dust and sand. So sunglasses are always good to have. If you have diabetes, diabetes is very dangerous to the eyes. So you want to be working with your doctor to make sure that your diabetes is well managed. And then smoking is bad for your eyes, especially if you have an eye disease. But for anyone, smoking is bad for your eyes. So stopping smoking or reducing your smoking will help with your eye health as well. I also want to make sure to tell people that there are some warning signs that you want to watch out for. If you notice them, you want to call your eye doctor immediately, because you might have a sudden onset of something that needs to be treated right away. And that's a bunch of sudden flashes. Yeah, sudden flashes. If you have a sudden loss of vision, like a veil covering your vision. If you're looking at lines that you know should be straight, but they appear wavy or distorted, then if you have any of those things, call your eye doctor right away. Maybe it's a false alarm, or maybe it will help save your vision.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm starting to acquire some of those traits. But I go every year. I'm faithful about getting my eye and adjusting my glasses, prescription and stuff. And I've got glaucoma starting, or not glaucoma, cataracts. I've got cataracts starting. But he said nothing to worry about at this point. But to your point, I think everything I hear is they're very readily treatable, and you can take care of that. So, we've talked a little bit about what people deal with when they start losing their eyesight. And Jennifer, the emotional reactions that people have, the thing that I picked up from your website, depression, anger, grief, isolation, anxiety, fear, physical limitations, how to adjust to life changes. I can understand that those are very real issues. And how do people deal with that? And do they need help overcoming that? Are those things that can be overcome?
They are normal reactions to a loss, like many other losses we might experience. A lot of that can come from just not having information. It's not something, any of us are typically learning about, in school, for example, unless it's our specialty. And so gathering as much information. At MABV, we have a telephone number where people can call and just ask questions. I get calls frequently from family members, from friends, an individual with an early diagnosis who's just wondering, what on earth can I do? I can't give them medical advice except the recommendation to continue with their eye doctor, but I can help paint a picture for them of what their options are, what's available to them to help with their functioning day to day, rebuild independence. MABV also offers adjustment counseling. I'm a clinical psychologist by background, and we have a team of licensed social workers who also provide counseling. And we're working with individuals, typically newer to vision loss, to support them through that grieving process, to teach emotional-based coping skills, to teach what Eleanor referred to, the communication with people around you to help with the understanding. And then more, getting people involved, say with their council on aging locally, because they can learn that way about local resources that exist. And we also have peer support groups, 37 of them now across the state. And those groups are really critical because you're around others with that lived experience of vision loss. Some earlier in their journey, some who are experienced, and everyone supports one another in those groups, and they're all facilitated by an individual who's low vision or blind themselves. So it's such a lovely community, and you don't feel alone anymore. That isolation you mentioned, you can feel like you're the only one. You're embarrassed to talk about it with other people. There's a definite stigma associated with losing vision. And so the more you're around other people who are walking a similar path, the more comfortable you begin to feel. It builds that hope. It builds just those bits and pieces of knowledge on how to solve everyday problems. And then what there is that you can be doing to really enjoy your life, even as losing vision.
Yeah, I have to believe that that's, I can only imagine what it's like for people who, have enjoyed full sight and then all of a sudden are starting to lose their vision and realizing that they're going to be blind or certainly have impaired eyesight so that they can't enjoy the things that they've done in the past to the level that they've done them. So in working with family members, and I like the idea, I didn't realize that there was support groups. So those are throughout the state. And the way people would get connected to them is by calling your office, or they're listed on your website, or how do people get connected to those?
Yeah, the best way is through our 800 number, if I can give that
Yeah,
a few times.
sure.
It's 888-613-2777. And you will either get a voicemail with a pretty quick response from our social worker, who's the one who shares all of the information on our programs and can make referrals. Some people who are legally blind are already connected with the Massachusetts Commission for the Blind. That's the state agency that provides services to individuals who are legally blind. So MCB, as it's known as, makes referrals to, say, our support groups and our training opportunities. So there's different ways. We do a lot of outreach because we want to spread the word that we exist, so people have some hope that there's people they can connect with, services they can participate in if they so choose.
What is the difference between your agency and the Massachusetts Commission on the Blind?
So we are a private nonprofit, and the Commission for the Blind is a state agency. So they are providing services through funding from both the federal and state government that goes to individuals who are now legally blind. We not only work with people who are legally blind, but also people who are considered low vision, so they don't yet qualify or may never qualify for services from the state agency.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
However, we are filling that really big gap that exists.
Are there a lot of people that fall into that category?
It's hard to know the numbers, but absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. From a standpoint of your services, the people that you serve, is it kind of evenly spread throughout the state, or is it mostly concentrated in Boston or Eastern Mass or Western Mass? Are you really, is it spread everywhere?
I mean, certainly percentage-wise, it's larger within the bigger cities, really where, because older adults are the largest population in terms of onset of vision loss.
Okay,
1 in 3
right.
older adults will develop
Ooh.
some condition that will restrict their vision to some degree or another. And so, but we get calls from all over the state. Yeah.
That's an interesting statistic. 1 in 3 people develop loss. Wow. I want to talk about, I think it all kind of relates, and we've kind of been talking a little bit about, but how much it impacts personal relationships, marriages, work life, socializing activities, and then just understanding who you are as a person. Can you speak to that?
Oh, yeah, sure. So it's a big change. If you've been a very social person who just, jumps in your car and heads to the coffee shop or to a friend's house or to a, sporting event, whatever it might be, that's suddenly or over time not something you're able to do or comfortable doing anymore, especially when you haven't yet had services. So it involves a real adjustment. Same with that communication. You're learning yourself how to, say, walk safely and maybe to use what's called an ID cane, which tells other people that you have some degree of vision loss. And you're learning the language, the words to use, but you're also in a position of teaching other people. And that brings a new dynamic to relationships. Your partner, your friends, they're not quite sure what to say, how to say it, how to help. Some people jump in way too much. Some people hold back.
Yeah.
And again, it's not something where we're taught what to do, how to do it. And our peer support groups do include family members who come to learn themselves, and that's a big part of their learning process, too. It's really a team effort, and we focus a lot on how can you support your loved one on, say, guiding you in, say, a darker environment or an unfamiliar one. You learn to just naturally share some information on how to do that without judgment. And I also talk a lot about the importance of social connection. So if you know someone in your life who's low vision or blind, they don't drive, for example, see if they want to go for a cup of coffee. Let them know you're heading out to the grocery store. Would they like to join you? And it's a nice social event for both of you. And it provides that natural opportunity and allows an individual to make a choice. It's really lovely to have choices. I can order my groceries over my phone. However, it's a lot of fun to go to a store. My son loves to shop. My husband is like, race through the store, pick things up. So as are so many of us. So it's, I love going with a friend. We walk the mall, I call it, and chat the entire time. So these are opportunities for anyone who's connected. And just ask. If you're not sure what to say, how can I help? What do you need done? do you want to hang out this weekend? Nobody knows quite what to say, how to say it. So just ask. Ask with respect, ask with care and thoughtfulness.
Are there situations where family members can't adjust or they struggle with that adjustment of supporting someone that's going through this?
Well, often working with a counselor can be helpful. Our counselors only work with the individual themselves who are blind, but a therapist or counselor who's experienced in working with individuals, say, experiencing grief or losses, medical illnesses, any therapist really can help an individual, a family member, learn what they can be doing to support their loved one.
Interesting. So let's talk about strategies that exist for aging in place with low vision, including low-tech approaches to common challenges. So Eleanor, is this your time to?
Oh, great. Well, Jen can break in as needed also, because I'm sure you have lots of tricks that I've never even tried.
We'll see. It's always a party to figure these things out.
Oh, I love it. So yeah, I did bring some of my tricks. I brought all my low-tech stuff. In my work, I work with things from as simple as a rubber band or a paper clip, going on up to large desktop magnifiers that can cost $6,000 to $7,000. But I focused for this on pretty much everyday items that are pretty easy to obtain and easy to use.
Okay.
So I brought my bag of tricks here. I think I already touched on the importance of lighting. Light everywhere, more light everywhere. So I have a bunch of examples. This is, I don't know what can be, let me know if things aren't able to be seen easily.
If you can that's the camera, the center camera there, that's your focal point for
Okay.
showing things.
All right, so here I've got a little portable rechargeable lamp. You can fold it up and unfold it, and you turn it on, and then you can just shed a little light on anything that you need to be shed on.
Can you put it on the corner of the table?
yeah.
That way they can,
How's
that's
that?
better. There you
Good.
go. Now we can see it.
Yeah, so this is a useful guide for a lot of things. You need more light, especially as you get older, and you need light that you can put directly on top of the thing that you're looking at. I recommend people to buy fancy floor lamps and desk lamps, but I also recommend portable guys because I don't like to have cords going across your living space for you to trip on.
Right.
And then this guy you can recharge and bring him where you need him, and that includes to a restaurant, because we all have found that in these dark restaurants, it is hard to read the menu.
Right.
And for a person with a visual impairment, it's also hard to see where the food is on their plate. So don't be embarrassed. This guy can fit in a purse, and then you can bring it out and you can shine the light right on your plate.
And everyone else at the table will be like, oh my gosh, that's so helpful too.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
universal design.
Exactly.
So that's one example.
And that's just a tap on and off?
Yes, and then you'll see I modified it, and I'll talk about how I modified it in a minute too.
Okay.
All right, but still on the lighting topic, I also have, I'll get to you later, and I also have a little flashlight. You can get these
Oh,
in the
yeah, we have
checkout
those,
aisle
right.
of the hardware store.
Yep.
I tell people get 5 or 6 of these and keep them all over the house so that when you need one, it's right there. You
Yeah,
can
we
just
use
grab
those a
it.
lot.
Yes.
Right.
And then another thing that you want to do is most people's overhead lighting in their homes is inadequate. You want to replace those bulbs. There's the new LED bulbs. If you still have some incandescents, replace them all with LED bulbs. It costs you less in electricity, and you can get really bright ones, so 60 to 100 watts. Experiment in some parts of the house. It might be too bright, but in your main spaces, in the kitchen and the living room, you want to have high watt bulbs. And you'll notice on light bulbs, they tell you the wattage. That's the luminosity, but they also tell you the temperature, and that's that color, whether it's a warm light or a cold light. in these living spaces of your house where you need a lot of extra light, go for the daylight bulbs. Those are on the colder spectrum, and they're going to be brighter. I also like to have, for people, I like to recommend when there's a lamp that has multiple color modes, you tap a button and it goes from warm to cold. That's really nice because as the day changes and the ambient light from the day changes, you might find a different color of light is more effective for you. But more lighting everywhere. And then another thing, we all see it all the time, is people who are having trips and falls getting up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. Because when you wake up, it's dark and you're disoriented.
Right.
Your balance is off. So I try to make sure that everybody I work with has clear lighting from the bedroom to the bathroom. And that's not just a night light in the bathroom, but everybody should have a night light in the bathroom that comes on automatically at night. But I also like to get these little puck lights, and they have magnets on them, and you can stick them to the wall. And I like to make what I call a breadcrumb trail of these little lights along the wall near the floor that have, they have motion sensors. So,
Oh, really?
yeah, so as you walk near them, the light's going to flick on,
Yeah.
lighting your way to the bathroom, and then it's going to turn off automatically. So it's not on all night keeping you awake, but it's there when you need it.
Are those rechargeable or are they battery powered?
You can get both kinds, battery powered or rechargeable. I kind of feel it out with the individual. For some people, the battery powered ones tend to last longer, but then you have to be constantly buying and throwing away batteries. For a lot of people, it is hard for them to get the little charging cable into the charging port.
Yeah, right.
So it's an individual thing, which one is going to be better.
But those are magnetized?
Yeah, and they come with a little magnet that's sticky, and you stick the magnet on the wall. And then
Oh,
you
I
stick
see.
this onto the
Oh,
magnet.
okay, so
Yep.
the magnet gets stuck to the wall
That's
and
right.
then this sticks to that.
Exactly.
Oh, okay. I was trying to figure out how you dealt with
Yeah.
hard surface items that aren't magnetic.
That's right. And I highly recommend these. They're very affordable. You can get them at the hardware store. You can get them on Amazon.
Okay.
And they can literally save your life. You can also get, if you have a smart speakers are great. You can connect your smart speaker, like your Alexa or your Google Home. You can connect them to your lights. And then you can just say, hey, Alexa, turn on the lights. So those are good
Right.
too. And they can do a lot of things. That could be a whole talk on its own.
Yeah.
So that's my lighting conversation. Then I come to ways to mark things. And I have a lot of different ways to mark things. It's so important.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So,
Quite the selection.
oh, I know. This isn't even all of it. So here is one of the most important tools in the toolkit is they're little stickers that are bumpy. So you take them and then you use them to create what we call a tactile marker so that you can feel where a button is. So my little wireless light here, like so many modern appliances, the control is totally flush with the surface. So modern and sophisticated. And if you cannot feel it, then if you have a problem with your vision, you can't find it. So I took one of my little bump dots and I put it on the on switch so that I can find it just by feeling it. Almost everybody that I work with, I put these on their microwave so they
Oh.
know where's the 1 minute, where's the start
Oh,
and the
right,
stop.
right.
You put them on the oven range, but they have applications throughout the home. And you can get them in different colors and different shapes and different sizes so that you can create a code so that everything is distinguishable just by touch.
And where are those available to
So
people?
these you can get also on Amazon.
Okay.
There's also Maxi Aids is a company that sells a lot of low vision devices, and they have the whole range, low tech to high tech. That's called Maxi Aids. But Maxi Aids products are also sold on Amazon. So these are called bump dots, and you can just search for them and they'll come right up. Now here I have my high-vis cloth tape, and I use these to mark things throughout people's homes. I let them pick which fluorescent color they like the best or which one stands out the most, because everybody's vision is unique. And then I mark things all over the place. What do I mark things with? Oh, let's say we go back to that TV remote control. Your TV remote is black and it's on the black coffee table.
Oh, yeah.
So hard to find.
Right.
So I just put a big strip of colorful tape on it.
Okay.
And I
Great
do that
suggestion.
with all kinds of things. Your case for your glasses, and a
Yep.
different color for the vision for the near glasses, and a different color for the distance glasses. I use them to mark zipper pulls. If you have a black zipper pull on a black coat, I use them to mark light switches so you can find the light switch more easily. Or if there are like fixed pieces of furniture that are pushing out into the walkway, I use it to mark the edges so that it stands out more. Now for stairs, I'm going to use a bigger tape, so I've got my bright yellow duct tape. That works for stairs, but like I said earlier, there are lots of different options. If you have like nice stairs that you want to look attractive at home, there are still other options that you can use. It just has to be a different color from the stair tread itself. Jen, when we were talking about this, Jen reminded me to bring masking tape. Masking tape and a black Sharpie is a great way to label something that otherwise the name of what it is in fine print that's maybe low contrast. You use this. I use this in my fridge when I'm labeling leftovers. It's very prominent and easy to see if you write what the thing is on the masking tape.
Okay.
Yeah. And here I've got my puffy paint. The bump dots don't stick to everything, but my bright orange puffy paint is another alternative. And then, another thing Jen reminded me about is the Humble rubber band.
My favorite.
I know, it's a great tactile marker. It costs nothing. It's not going to be damaged by water. And so a good example of this is look at my shampoo and conditioner here. My shampoo and conditioner are the same size and shape and virtually the same color. The blue on clear text, it's going to be impossible to tell. But if I take my rubber band and I put it on the shampoo, I'm going to know instantly which one is the shampoo.
Oh my gosh, what a great, so simple.
That's right. Those are the best ones. Yeah, so you can use that in a lot of different settings. And I've got my plastic cafeteria tray. Is another one of my favorite tools. You can use it in so many different ways. The name of the game for so many things in low vision is increasing contrast. So if I have something white, then I can put it on something dark, and it's much easier to see. You can get cafeteria trays in a range of colors, depending on what you need to do. The most common example that I recommend to people is when you're sorting your medication. You're taking it out of the pill bottles and putting it in your weekly pill organizer.
Right.
The pills are tiny. It's hard to see which is which, and they go skittering all over the place.
Yep.
And they can go onto the floor,
Yep.
where not only are you not getting your medication, but one of your pets might get it. So if you put the whole operation over your dark plastic cafeteria tray, not only will it be easier to see what you're doing, but also if anything gets away from you, it's going to get caught by the rim of the tray.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Also, if you're making a meal in the kitchen, a lot of people have a hard time with things spilling, if dry ingredients or wet ingredients. But if you're doing the whole operation over your cafeteria tray, it's only going to get so far, and then it's easy to clean. So I love those. And also a lot of people, like if you have one of those kitchen counters that's like a beautiful variegated granite, that is the worst surface to try to see anything on because it's mixed dark and light colors. But if you have something solid colored, you can just pop it on top and anything over there is going to be more visible.
I love that. It's funny. we use the pill boxes for all of our vitamins and stuff. And my wife, Ann, was just filling them up last night, because, oh, my God, they're empty. It's amazing how fast they go. 7 days are done. But invariably, when we're doing it, like this morning, I open up my little, it's Friday morning, I open up the little thing, turn it over, a bunch of others fell out because they hadn't all clipped shut. So I love this idea of the tray, just having it so it'll collect all that. So, because where do they go? Everything went on the floor. So now I'm scurrying around on the floor trying to find them.
And it's another inexpensive item that you can just buy a bunch of. I mean, I use them for my
those
kids'
trays are great.
arts and crafts activities. I have a big pile. If they're going to do anything messy, I just grab one.
Right.
And then my last favorite low-tech trick is every house that I go into, the person on a corner of the table where they do most of their work, the kitchen table or the living room or the dining room table, on the corner of the table is a pile of scraps of paper on which are written the whole story of that person's life, often in like pencil or pen. There are appointments that are coming up, a phone number that's important, a voicemail message, and they just grab whatever scrap of paper is handy and scribble it down and put it on the pile. And then it's very easy for things to get misplaced, and it's very hard to read them. So I recommend to people to get a notebook. This is a little notebook I make myself. Inside the paper is what's called bold-lined paper. So it's got high contrast and a lot of space. People who are visually impaired, who want to be able to read what they've written, if they have enough vision, they need to learn how to write bigger and clearer. And the dark lines and the spacing it gives you a visual cue to write bigger. And then if you have it bound in a notebook like this, then anytime you need to write something down, you just open it up and you write it down and everything is contained. And if you want to use a dark pen, a lot of people are using Sharpies, but I have a special pen here. It's called a Bold Writer or a 2020 pen. It's just like a Sharpie. It's big and bold, but it doesn't bleed through the paper.
Interesting.
Yeah, and those you can also get on Amazon by looking up 2020 pen is a sort of general name for them.
2020 pen.
Yeah, but the brand name also you can look for is Bold Writer. And the paper and the pen, you can get those at Maxi Aids. I know I'm giving them a lot of advertising today, or on Amazon. There's multiple brands. But the important thing is you do need to start getting very organized if you have a visual impairment, because you need to create systems that are going to work for you every time, putting things in the same exact place every time, and keeping your important information and documentation well organized.
I love the idea of the shampoo and conditioner with using the rubber band. I mean, you could use that like on salt and pepper shakers or anything of those kind of natures.
Exactly.
Great simple ideas. That was very, very well done.
Thank you.
So we've kind of Access Tech support. I'm just looking at my notes. Access Tech support groups in rehabilitation. Jennifer, we've talked about some of that already. Is there more to that we should be sharing with our viewing audience here?
I think the access technology we haven't addressed
Okay,
yet.
yes, that would be a good one.
And, we're so fortunate to have so many options available. And it can be tempting when someone is losing vision. A friend, family member might buy them a very expensive device that they've heard about. The most important thing, though, is getting an assessment, but also start with the basics. So, for example, a small digital recorder, which just has a few buttons, record, play, pause, stop, is for taking notes. I can just push play and you could give me your phone number. And I'll have it there to bring with me. That can be helpful when you can no longer read your handwriting anymore. Also tricks around, say, using a smartphone. Smartphones have flashlights on them
Yeah,
for
right.
task lighting if you've forgotten your, nice one that Eleanor was showing. One trick I love to share with people before they've learned ways of taking notes is if Eleanor had some information to share with me, I'd ask her to call my voicemail. My trick, I don't answer the phone. That's the hardest part. But she can leave me a message with, say, the catalog or the name of the item. And as long as I know how to check my voicemail, there we go. I have the information. So often if someone who's losing vision, for example, knows how to check their answering machine or their voicemail, they can ask the doctor's office, for example, can you please call back and leave the appointment time and location on my voicemail? I don't have a way to write it down. And as long as you're asking and you might need to explain, I don't see very well, it's hard for me to write it down, you'd be amazed at how helpful these kinds of solutions can be to gather information.
It's a great idea.
There's also a lot of apps, by the way, on smartphones that are designed for people who are low vision or blind. Those involve, a bit of training, which our Access Technology instructors provide. They're all, most of them, low vision or blind themselves, so they use these apps every day. One of my favorites, I can call on FaceTime and get my sister on my video camera. She's very fashionable. I am never been fashionable. I'm an overalls kind of person. But if I need something, I'll head to the store. We have a date on my phone, and she'll help me pick out some items, and we have a great time. And so she lives down in Northern Virginia, so not quite close.
Oh, wow. Right.
To
Not
come
next
up
door.
here. But my mom has done that as well with me. We have a really fun time. So there's a lot of creative ways that brings a lot of laughter, a lot of fun. AI is another one. There are basic apps that provide a description of a photo you've received. When you can't see a photo clearly,
Really?
I can ask AI, what's in this photo? And it will provide me a description. Hopefully it's accurate. I might try more than once to see what I'm told. But it gives me a nice foundation of information.
It's amazing. I'm sure that there's a lot to the cell phones of today, and
Yes.
the technology, the iPhones in particular, but the number of apps, which I'm not familiar with, but I have to believe when I look at that world, there's got to be a lot of accessibility and ways to use it. I'm curious. I was communicating with you through text. What's happening on your end? I'm sending you a text.
Yeah.
You can't read it.
Yeah. So I was listening to your text this morning, make sure I had the right address to come to. And my phone, iPhone has a feature called VoiceOver, which speaks
Okay,
what's
that's
on
what
the
I was.
screen.
Okay.
Yeah. So it just started blabbing away at me, and that was super helpful. It gave me your phone number. If I got a call from Eleanor and it announced, Eleanor's calling. Also, Android phones have that as well. TalkBack
Is that an app or is it built into the phone?
that's built into both of the phones.
Oh,
So
it is.
that's a really important accessibility feature. There are other settings as well, such as high contrast on the screen. So Eleanor was covering, a white item on a black background. And you can try out different settings on a phone where you might be really surprised at how much better you can see. You can magnify what's on the screen. You can change the brightness of the screen.
Right.
So if you're using your phone or you're helping your loved one with their phone, look for the setting that's called accessibility, and you'll find settings that'll say vision, for example. There's ones for hearing. If somebody's using hearing aids, it's a way to adjust different settings on the phone. So it's really amazing what's out there. It's right there in your pocket. But I have to say, to me, nothing beats real people. I grew up pretty shy and introvert, but I have just loved the opportunity. Like I was just at the coffee shop in town, And they were just lovely. You know, they said, "Oh, we're up front here. Can I tell you what's on the menu?" We had a great conversation about the enormous cinnamon buns that had just come out of the oven. You know, and if I had just snuck in, you know, grabbed a cinnamon bun and sat down, I would have lost that chance to just meet someone who was just
Right.
perfectly fun to talk with. And when he saw I was getting ready to head outside, he came over and he said, "Hey, can I give you a hand getting out?" We had another conversation, and I taught him a little bit about how to guide somebody who's blind. And it was just this perfect opportunity. I may never meet him again, but it brought such a smile to me and hopefully to him. And I got outside. Eleanor yelled my name from the car, hopped on in, and here we are.
Well, I have to say, I'm not sure how you found Circuit Coffee, but they are the top coffee stop in Westfield.
I have
so
to
you did
say,
well.
one of my apps,
Oh,
they
okay.
found it for me.
You did well with
They
that.
could even tell me what it looked like on the inside.
So, you know, in talking about real life with you, so when you're navigating the world around you, are you finding that people are willing to help out and step up or not?
I have to, some people will, you know, very comfortably come and ask, you know, if I could use a hand with something. Some I might not even know that they're nearby. They might be hesitant to say something. I say to anybody, you know, just say hello. It's a lovely thing to do when you're passing someone, whether they have a disability or not. It's harder when your, you know, face is in your phone to see what's coming, but I think we can gain back that just greeting somebody you're passing by. And it's a matter of, I had to get comfortable over time with asking for assistance. I was, you know, an independent soul, and I just felt, you know, I had that initial embarrassment, uncertainty, what will they think? But as I started to ask and accept help, I met just some lovely people over the years. You know, my Uber driver who got me here this morning, we talked for an hour and a half straight, and he walked me into the coffee shop. And,
Oh, he did.
you know, I mean, it's these beautiful things. We learned so much from each other. We didn't even talk about vision loss. We talked about life in general.
Right.
And I find, too, that the schools are doing more and more to educate people about disabilities. And I find the kids know the rules. My seeing eye dog, Daisy, is hiding here under the desk. And the kids tend to know. You know, I'll hear them say, "Dad, don't pet the dog. That's a service dog. You're distracting it." And I just love it. You know, people are learning. And, you know, it can be a nice conversation starter. And even when I'm using my cane, I feel confident, I feel comfortable, but it's also a sign to other people that if I'm having a hard time, say, finding the entrance when there's a wall of glass doors and you're trying to find that one handle,
right,
you know, people will
right.
just come over and say, "Hey, can I give you a hand finding the door?" And my job is just to say, "You know what, that'd be wonderful. Thank you so much." And it's about that communication and growing comfortable with that over time.
You know, it's interesting. I struggle with this sometimes. You'll come to an opening and it's all glass panels.
Yes.
But the doors slide sideways when you go to.
Oh, which one?
But
Automatic.
trying to figure out, wait a minute, which panel am I? So I'm walking back and forth waiting for something to happen. And that's for me, and I can see. I can imagine it gets
Exactly.
even more
Yeah.
difficult. But
I
well-
call it a journey. You never know what you're going to come across.
it is a journey. We have learned a lot here today, but I think the overriding message is that people shouldn't feel despair, that there's people out there ready and willing to help them. There are programs out there. There's all kind of little tricks. We have our cell phones, and it's a matter of making the adjustment if we are starting to enter the world of failing eye loss and vision. And I've learned that that's going to be a natural thing as we get older. Like I said, don't rush yourself into it.
Yes. And despair would be normal initially, but
Right.
our what we like to do is give some hope, give some confidence that there are techniques you can learn, there are people you can meet. And I always think, if not for my own vision loss, I wouldn't have met Eleanor. I wouldn't have met you and your audience. So
Right.
it's a beautiful opportunity that I never thought it would become.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. I want to be able to give people a means by which to get more information. Can you share one more time the phone number, your website, and ways that people can find more information and get in touch with your
Sure.
organization?
Easiest for most people would be to call us. It's 888-613-2777. I'll repeat it again, 888-613-2777. You can email us at the abbreviation for the Mass Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. That's M as in Massachusetts, A, B as in boy, V as in vision, I in impaired, whatever you want. MABVI at MAB, MAB, so Massachusetts, AB, as in blind, community, that's all one word, mabcommunity.org. And you'll get one of us, it'll connect to us. And our website, if you just do a Google search for Mass Association for the Blind, will pop up, near the top of the search after you enter that information. That's probably the easiest way to find us.
That's great. Is there anything else that we haven't talked about from either one of you that you want to share before we close this interview down?
I just want to give people hope and that there is life after vision loss. It's not going to feel that way with your initial diagnosis, that there really are options, and we want to work with you to provide knowledge of what your options are. And then you can make some choices on how you're going to live your life. And, it can no, often people don't believe that it can really be a beautiful life, but it's a big adjustment until you get there. So don't hesitate to ask for assistance, to give us a call, and we will support you in finding the resources that you want to have. You may not even know they're out there, so don't hesitate to say, I used to like to knit, I'm not going to be able to do that anymore. You know what? I'm going to set you up with a crafting club, with a podcast about how to knit, these kinds of things. So don't hesitate to ask those questions.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank the two of you. If there's one thing that I've just come across, I think you encapsulated it perfectly. Hope, having options, knowledge about what you're into, choices of how to live your life, and making that adjustment to your new and changing situations. Very well done. So to Jennifer Harnish, Executive Director of the Massachusetts Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired, and Eleanor Strahl, who's the Occupational Therapist and Vision Rehab Director for the organization. I want to say thank you to the two of you for coming in. Very, very interesting conversation. Shared a lot of information. I have learned a lot, and I'm pretty sure that our viewers have as well. Thank you so much for the work that you do. It's important. And I think that as I talk to our viewers out there, just know that there are outlets if you are dealing with this, or if there's someone in your family or a friend who is dealing with this and is struggling and doesn't know where to turn. I think that we've got some great options and great choices for you to get some help and get some information. So with that being said, I am Harry Rock. And I also, before I close it down, I want to remind you that this program will broadcast every Tuesday and Thursday throughout the month at 2:45. So if you want to watch this show again every Tuesday and Thursday at 2:45, you can. Special thanks to Pete Coles, our WCPC Westville Cable Channel 15 manager and producer, for his help and support to make this show possible. And on behalf of Pete Coles, Mike Squindo, and Tina Gorman, I'm Harry Rock. This has been another edition of the Westfield Council on Aging Presents on WCPC Westfield Cable Channel 15. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you on the next show. Thanks, everybody.